Burnout is a sneaky link. It doesn't just drain your energy, it distorts your reality. It convinces you that you don't have the money, you don't have the time, or even the clarity to choose to make things better. And today, I want to pull back the curtain on three big lies that burnout tells. It says, I can't afford it. It says, I don't have the time. And it also says to you, I don't know what the right choice is. These aren't flaws in you, they're symptoms of burnout itself. And when you learn how to spot them, you can stop waiting for the perfect moment and start reclaiming your power today. Because the real cost, it isn't investing in help. The real cost is staying stuck. And let me tell you, I know all about it. I'm Sophia, and I help driven women climb in corporate without the cost of burnout. That used to be me. I had the awesome job, the nice title, the nice paycheck, but I also had a lot of stress, a lot of unrealistic deadlines, and I churned through them. So much so until I burned out. I'll tell you more about that later. I want to focus on you, and let's just get right to it. The first one is I can't afford it. It's a spiral because once you start thinking I can't afford it, you can never get out of that mindset. Burnout, it makes it harder to earn, it makes it harder to think strategically or even grow. And yet we convince ourselves that we can't afford to get help. I want you to do something for me. I want you to compare the cost of support. And that means therapy, like from a licensed professional, right? Coaching or even time off. And when I say time off, I mean away from screens because we're always on. I want you to compare that versus the cost of staying stuck. Right. And if you're stuck, not only do you lose a promotion, it's also the health impacts because stress is a silent killer. You think, oh, it's just one thing, but it leads to all types of chronic issues. And there's also the cost of strained relationships. We often overlook those. Yeah, my best friend is just acting funny. Is she acting funny? Or have you not been present for a while? I used to tell myself the same thing. I can't afford to slow down. As a Black woman, let me just be a little honest here. There's a certain number of high powered roles, high visibility roles, high earning roles. And I thought to myself, if I slow down, if I take a break, if I don't take that next promotion, then there won't be any spots available for me. I'll lose my 15 minutes of fame, my 15 minutes of great project. Let's move you to the next level, or let's see what that next rotation look like. Let me tell you, I didn't even have time for like a water break, like seriously. But I realized that missing like my son's kindergarten graduation, almost missing it for a last minute change by the C-suite for a deck that I was doing, that wasn't saving me money. It was costing me moments that I could never buy back. So let's put change to action, right? I want you to write down. I like journals, but maybe you're not a journal person. Put together a list for 1 week from today, 7 days from now. Just jot down every time exhaustion cost you. Wow, so what is Sophia talking about? I got no clue. All right, let's talk about the cost of that food delivery because you're too tired to cook. You're too tired to even think about what groceries you need. Or what about the cost of redoing a project? Because you couldn't afford to focus on it. You know how like you're just sitting there over and over. Why is it so hard for me to get this VLOOKUP, this sum if formula to work? What's going on? Write that down because I want you to start seeing these hidden costs. And then I want you to reframe that as an investment in yourself because it's not only possible, but it's necessary. But I need us to start with concrete examples. You ready for the next one? I know you are. In fact, before I get there, if there are things that I'm missing, maybe you don't like a journal or a list, but something else that pops to the top of your mind, jot it down in the comments because this is how we help others is when we have a dialogue in real time about some of the things that are affecting us and how these tools help us move forward. Let's talk about the next one, time scarcity. I call it a paradox because the reality that we tell ourselves is that we don't have time. And that phrase, I don't have time, that's burnout's favorite trick. Yet, burnout itself, it slows everything down. It makes us work harder and it steals hours through exhaustion and mistakes. Yeah, investing 30 minutes of recovery time today, that could save you 3 hours of spending tomorrow. But I know it's hard to imagine. And for me, that showed up in like how you're in deep work focus, deep work mode. Yes, let me just finish this out. Oh man, it's already 9 o'clock. I'll finish this out. I'll be done by 11 p.m. This project will be done. Yes, that's great. I saved the day, right? But that prevented me from getting a good night's sleep. And that means I started the next day, tomorrow, just a little depleted. Yes, I plan to chug more coffee, more caffeine to get through it. But what if I use my time differently? So that's why I want you to think about recovery. You're investing in your recovery time and think about 30 minutes of recovery and how it can yield you more power tomorrow. Uh, One thing that comes to mind for me is I can remember just eating lunch in my car just to catch my breath because if people saw me at my desk, at my cube, if they saw me online, they would ask me all these, hey, it's just a quick question, all these questions. Can I ask you this? Let me pick your brain. And guess what? We know that a quick question, it's never quick. It's 30 minutes. It could be even an hour because you want to dissect it and answer it. And then also, it slows you down from what you were doing. Maybe it would have taken you 20 minutes of uninterrupted time to crank through something. But when you're constantly stopping, you never really get into that deep work mode again. So the truth is, like, I was bleeding hours every day from exhaustion and rework and trying to help others out. And the moment I started protecting 15 minutes for myself, I gained back capacity I didn't even know I had. And for those of you who have kids, I want to give you a very practical example. Before I had kids, I didn't even realize how much free time I had. But of course, once you are responsible for this small human being, responsible for not only their hygiene, but how they eat and trying to, predict some of their thoughts and what they might like to do that's helpful for them. All of these extra hours just appeared in my day. I stopped doing things that weren't helpful. So these reframes are really powerful. And I know you're looking for something practical you can do today. How about a 90-second reset? So before your next meeting, I want you to close your laptop. I want you to take 3 deep breaths, stretch your shoulders, and that tiny pause, it just interrupts that burnout cycle. It interrupts the always on, and it allows you to buy back clarity for the rest of the day. Come on, you got 90 seconds to spare. All right, the third one, burnout has so much impact on daily decision making. Often we call it decision fatigue. Literally, it impairs your brain's executive functions, making every choice heavier and more dangerous. It's like, no wonder you hesitate to change or to pivot. So instead of thinking like, I have to make the perfect decision regarding what I'm going to do next, you just need to make one small aligned choice and build momentum. And when I finally took my sabbatical, I was terrified that I was making the wrong move. Like I said, I couldn't even imagine taking a break for water. But what I learned is that clarity, it doesn't come from the decision, it comes from after. That small decision, it leads to another small decision and how I rebuilt a career that fits me. And it started with taking a pause and reevaluating what works for me. I gave you a 90-second rule and that last tip, but what's one decision in this next day, these next few hours, that takes you one step toward energy instead of depletion? This will keep you moving without overthinking. What am I missing? What are some of the other burnout lies that you hear repeated over and over again in your mind? Put them in the comments. What am I missing? This is a collaboration. I want us to have a dialogue about this. Where is burnout lying to you right now? Is it about money? Is it about time? Or is it clarity? This week, I want you to notice, you're going to take my advice, you're going to write that list, but I want you to notice one place that you've been hesitating and try just the smallest possible shift. Now, if you're circling that same burnout spiral, I want us to talk. I work with women who want to keep their high powered roles and finally get some breathing room. Join my masterclass. I'll actually put a link to it in the notes section, and I'll give you a 10-minute pivot to not only keep this conversation going, but it will reshape how you show up. Hey, if you think you got it together, but you know your group needs to hear something like this, invite me to your organization for a workshop because when women stop burning out, everyone else wins. Hey, did you subscribe? You like this conversation? Let's keep it going. Subscribe. Come on. Did you subscribe? Subscribe.